We're at Stratas Media Group here, April 27th, Saturday. Pretty crazy event going on in Virginia Beach. Something in the water with Pharrell's group, but here we've got Hollywood Chill 757 with Erman Baradi from Ermantourage. So great to have you back and home in Virginia Beach. Erman, welcome back, and you brought some friends with you.
Yes, sir, I did. I'm very happy to be back home. It's been 6 months since I've been here last, so it's always good to be in the VA. In the VA? Did I even say that right? Who says the VA?
Oh, you're so Hollywood now. Look at you.
So Hollywood. I lost all my roots in.
See that what happens.
So it happens when you move out west.
Yeah. With us today, we've got MeLo-X.
Yeah. What up?
Platinum executive record producer, and also Yasmine Tanres.
Yes, hello.
She has a long list, a long bio. I could go on and on, but it won't stop. But she's just one of a kind and the beautiful Miss.
Well,
Yasmine
thank you.
Tanres.
Thank you so much, Romeo.
Yep.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, she's alright.
Yeah, word.
She's alright.
Just came from across the pond, yeah.
So
Landed in Virginia.
Yeah, so Mel, again, thanks for coming down. I know you've got a busy schedule. You've been bouncing around and touring all over the world and doing a lot of different projects. Multi-talented, multi-fascinated. It's just great to have you in the VA area in the 757. But first, before we get off, let me just say congratulations on the baby that's being expected.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Clap, everybody.
that's
clap.
right. Having a boy, right?
Baby boy, yo.
Yeah, what was his name again?
Nah.
Nah.
You're not
Catch him
going to get me
slipping.
like that. You ain't
Try
going
to
to catch
catch
me
him
slipping.
slipping.
It's too easy, man.
Yeah.
Feel me?
So, so we're looking forward to the Q&A session. I know, Yasmine, you've been doing these for a while now with Erman and back in L.A., and I know we hooked up Erman back in February doing your, whatever the event was called at Station 1640 in
Yeah.
L.A., which is a good spot. So we're looking forward to bringing that here to Hampton Roads. So, so tell us, Melo, what have you been up to, man? What's new and what you got going on?
I've been in preparing for daddy mode. That's what I've been on. Yeah, I just been taking care of my girl Corey, just, cooking, cleaning, becoming a cleaner person. You know what I'm saying? Cleaning up after myself and shit. But I just been really focused on that. And the last 3 years, I've worked on a lot of music and a lot of just more of the visual art side and just kind of figuring out the right time to put it out. So starting next month, I'll be releasing more music and more visual stuff, more things that I've been working on. Yeah.
Ultimately, has that led you to kind of prepare for the point that when you do become a father, so you take a little break after and you're still churning things out that you've been working on?
I have it, my plan is that as I'm in daddy mode, I'll have all of this like content that I could just put out and kind of build the, suspense for like a show or a tour or something. And those first, few months or like 5 months or so, I could just kind of be just me and my son. Like, that's fire.
That's so exciting.
It says having a baby or fatherhood changes a man. You're gonna become your style gonna change a little bit softer.
Oh,
Are you gonna have
definitely.
the softer side of Melo coming out? Or?
Nah, I'm gonna just start dressing like a corny dad. Like I'm dead ass on some corny dad mode when the baby comes. Yo.
Well, you are into fashion as well, so I'd be really intrigued to see your daddy mode style.
Yeah, see, that's the thing though. My dad mode gonna be wavy, So
Maybe you can pull off some dad jeans, but like make them actually fly.
Yeah. I've been wearing dad jeans though, but like it has a different cut, so it don't feel like dad jeans. But I want to go full on like dad mode, yo. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know we were talking earlier when you first got in. I've been doing a little bit of research on you. It was going way back in your YouTube videos from back in the day.
Yeah.
Just seeing how you got started. We were talking about you growing up, being 6 years old, and how you really found out you got your passion and love for what you're doing. Kind of just take us down that road, man, of when that all started and how you woke up and you just started playing with music and going down that road.
Well, yeah, I mean, my mom, she bought me, before she bought me this toy recorder, I had like a small toy piano, which I still have.
Oh.
So that was like the first, like just as a baby, just like bing, 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 making noise. It's like I liked making noise. I was like always running around doing something crazy, breaking shit, breaking myself, cutting myself, all kind of just messing myself up, just being wild. But a lot of that wild energy turned into like me creating music and loving sound. So she bought me a toy recorder and I just started recording everything. I record myself. I record like, I still have the tapes. Like I have me and my sister doing like your mama so fat jokes, like contests, like yo mama so fat, and I'll be like boo. You know what I'm saying? Like going back and forth. So I was just recording life, you know, just documenting life at like that age. And I got intrigued with my voice being in something outside of myself, like being on a tape, and I could like record something over that, and then just like making my own mixtape. I didn't even know I was making that at the time, but I would record the radio. And that's when I first, like, it had a mic, and I didn't know what scratching was. So when you listen back to it, you'll hear me like scratching the mic on the speaker, because I thought that's what the DJs were doing. So I'll just be like, you just hear like the music regular, and then you just hear. So I was just like learning about sound from like real young age.
And then ultimately, you got your foundation in sound design. How had that helped you from the wild days of being a kid, trying and whatever, trial and error, and then going into some form of a structure that you had learned? Had that morphed you a little bit or amplified some of the like sound settings?
Oh, well, with sound design specifically, I would say me and my friend, Lil Friday, my best friend, we did these mixtapes, and what we would do, it was like, you'd have like DJ Clue mixtapes, you'll have like Cut Master C, you have all these different, you know, mixtapes, these different DJs, and it was basically the mixtape had all the exclusives, right? So exclusive music, exclusive stuff from like Jay or from whoever's like the illest, you know, artist at that time on the come up in New York or whatever. So we would listen to all of the radio stations. All the DJs had their own night. So like K-Slade was on Thursday, DJ Clues on Monday, Green Lanterns on Sunday. And sometimes they would play the same track as an exclusive. But DJ Clue would put his like sound bites and his drops somewhere, and you know, Green Lantern would put his drop somewhere different. So we would record all of them and then line them up and cut out where they put the drops. And then we would have like a clean version of this super new track. So that kind of like doing that and learning how to, because we were recording it on tape, I had to learn how to like get the hiss out, like, you know, the noise and different things. So that kind of was my first venture into dealing with sound outside of just recording music, but like dealing with the other aspects of sound. But then I would say when I went to the Institute of Audio Research, that was a school in New York. That's where I had a class that was like a sound design class. So basically they would give us a clip. Like one of the clips was like was Speed with Keanu Reeves, like when the train is like going through and it's about to like bust through the wall and go like outside or whatever is the bus, like it's like some wild shit's happening. But anyway, they would give it to us with no sound and be like, you know, create the sound of it, create what's happening. So I had to like, you know, then they had like a whole sound library that you had to go through. So I had to be like, all right, I need a bus engine sound. Boom, look at that. All right, the bus is going from left to right. So I have to visually, if I'm watching it, I need to feel like it's going from here to there, left to right. So how do you do that, you know, sonically? You know, it's more than just panning, because it's like over there, you're not hearing all of the low end rumble. When it gets close, that's when you're hearing it. And then as it goes away, you're hearing more of the high end. So
you got to be very intuitive.
You got, yeah. So that, like, just doing that over and over, and then, you know, implementing it into my music, I would always put like nature sounds and like wind and, you know, birds and all kind of shit. And then watching like 2001 Space Odyssey, shit like that, and just like tapping into the visual, but then watching it without even just looking at it, just hearing everything, how that's, you know, how that works. Yeah, that's how I like really got into sound design.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Now you're using all the elements and then as well like sounds. It's interesting. And going back to your journey of having like produced your own music essentially from such a young age and then refining as you go along, you know, you kind of were discovered in a way, but you were fascinated by like platforms like MySpace, and you mentioned Lady Gaga at some point when we were conversing earlier on. So, you know, for like people who want to have their own unique voice be taken seriously, but also, you know, mixing it with their idols like you did yourself, like what advice can you give people to produce and not feel like they're taking anything away from anybody?
Well, I mean, for me, when I first started learning, it was all about just studying the masters, or who I deemed the masters for me personally, which was like, as producers, it was like Easy Mo B and like Jay Dilla, and like I used to get Scratch Magazine. That was like a lit magazine. Like I had every Scratch Magazine. I read every article like 10, 20 times. I just go back to the same article to learn about like sampling, you know, just like, oh, these are like, you know, the hertz that were in this kind of like drum machine. So I'm using Fruity Loops, a laptop, but I know how to like make it sound like it's from that, you know? So just doing a lot of that and like studying them, but also building my own sound, and not just trying to replicate what they did, but doing it in a way of learning. Like, I'm going to learn how they chopped, how they did certain things, so that I could like implement it into my own, you know, and not just copy paste kind of thing. I think I feel like that's a good starting point. Just like try to match the shit that you like, you know? I didn't put that music out. That was just like, you know, just making like 10 beats every day after school. Just like, all right, this week it's, you know, Mobb Deep week. So I listen to all Mobb Deep albums. Anytime there was a drum that was like solo, I just took it like, oh, that's a snare. That's mine. Oh, that's a kick. Oh, that's a, you know what I mean? I just had a whole library of like, this is from Outkast. This is from, you know, and just study how them shit sound. And then from there is like, now that I have all this, basically the colors on my palette, now I could start drawing my own shit, you know? So
Do you ever go back and listen to your old tracks you've kept from way back then and think like, man, what the fuck was I thinking? Or,
yes,
damn, that sounded like
all the
shit.
time. Yes, all the time. And sometimes I'm like, oh, that sounded fire. Like, I gotta do that again, like, you know. But most of it, I'm like, oh, that shit sounded. The voice is up here, this is down here. But it's like I wasn't going to school at the time for it. I was just like in the hood, just on my block, in my crib, you know, between me and my best friend Freddie's crib, like just recording, mixing, learning as we went.
And as you were saying, you grew up with a lot of guys you still roll with today who are part of your team. Or people you grew up with. I mean, kids from, like you said, Claude, you and him go back from 6 years old. And, and that. So that's, you know.
Visionary Derry, we call him.
He was a DJ back then, right?
Yeah, he DJ'd. He also produced and like managed other artists, but he was like the main DJ or person that I knew as a DJ that was doing mixtapes like in high school, when he was in high school.
So who's the guy on the block? Who's the kid that everyone knew? You're like, oh,
it was him. I would say, as far as like, like mixtapes, having mixtapes out, like having them circulate throughout Flatbush, like in his high school. And when I went to high school, me and Freddie, I was my friend Frigga, he was the DJ one way, and I was like the assistant DJ. So I would go, like when we had parties, I would set up all the gear. You know, I was like, I could rig anything. We call it nigga rigging. Like, I'm a nigga rig this shit. Like, I'm gonna make it work somehow. You know what I'm saying? So we just set it up, boom, boom, boom. And then he would DJ. I would pass him the records. Like, you know, I was good at like putting the records in a certain sequence, like BPM, keys. Like, yo, these go together. These are good. And then he'll just be able to ask me for something, and I know exactly where to go get it in the crate. That was like when we had crates, like, you know. But it's crazy because my like DJ time is like now I DJ off a USB stick. Like, I just plug that in and it's like all the music I want to play. But when I started, it's definitely like I still have all of my vinyl, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so DJing, Visionary Derry, he definitely was like the main dude, and also like a mentor. He put me onto a lot of music. You know, a lot of different music that I wasn't looking for at that time. I was more into like the mixtapes and stuff like that. And I definitely got into like listening to different styles of things, but he was just older, just into different music, listening to different DJs. and, you know, putting me onto like different spots in the city. I was underage sometimes. He was like, yo, just let him in. I'm going to watch him. He's not going to drink. Just let him in. Da-da-da. You know, so I get it. I get to hear like different DJs play music that I never heard before. So all of that kind of just helped tailor my, I guess, my style, you know, how I do my shit. So
You have there are a lot of artists right now, young artists who are in their bedroom doing their thing, you know. So what technologies and platforms would you recommend for them to take advantage of?
I would say whatever's the latest, I wouldn't say whatever's the latest. I mean, yes and no, because for me, like, honestly, when I first was making music, I did not want to put my music online because I was on some like, I'm not doing this for money, man. This is for the art. Like, I don't care who listens. It's for me. And my boy Freddie, Lil Friday, Frigga, Freddie. If I say those, I'm talking about the same person.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm saying Lil Friday now. So Lil Friday, he was like, yo, if you want to do this and make music, like, you got to put your stuff online. I was like, all right, you do it. So he just took all my music and made a MySpace, and he was running it. A few months later, he like, yo, your MySpace is popping. I'm like, what? He's like, yo, shit is popping, son. Like, come check it out. Like, look, you could do this there. I was like, oh, I see now. Like, it clicked. Like, oh, I could just be here and just put it out, and then it'll reach people. That was like the gateway open. Like, oh, all right. So for me, MySpace was like the newest, latest thing, you know? And we were doing CDs and mixtapes, which is more of like, that was also a thing, but it still was like it wasn't dated at that time. This is like, I'll say like 2003, 2004. It wasn't dated. It was like, the thing to do, like have mixtapes, but MySpace was real new. And I jumped on that quick and put my music out and started meeting people off of MySpace, getting DJ gigs, getting shows. I used to do open mics every week. Same open mic over and over and over, just learning how to be on stage. So I would say, you as far as getting your music out, for me, I use like whatever was like the best tool at the time. I just utilized it to the max and like stayed consistent. I think with whatever you're doing, whatever platform, I think consistency is key. If you just like, some people do the wackest shit consistently and blow up off of doing the wackest shit consistently. Instead of like one time do some whack shit, everybody hates it. Okay, I'm not gonna do it no more. Some people's like, fuck that, I'm gonna do this whack ass shit over and over and over, and then they blow up. So the same energy with something that's dope, that's resonating, that's making sense or has some kind of message or whatever it is. Like, as long as you're consistent with it, like, that's key.
It also kind of sounds like, you have such a great support structure going back to like growing up with some friends that you still collaborate with, and then having your partner push you forward on MySpace, for instance. Yeah. And now going on to the topic of DJing still, like you started this event with Jasmine in New
Jasmine
York,
Solano.
Right? And so you do your like electric Punani and DJing, and that's just like picked up massively. Then you go all around, and that showcases again when you find that sort of collaborative creative partner, it works so well. Like, you make it work. So how, like, I mean, for example, with Jasmine, how did you connect with her? Or how have you always...
Well, before you get into that, explain electric Punani.
Okay, yeah, and how did that name come about too?
Let's break it down.
So the folklore goes like this. It was once a dark night in downtown Brooklyn. No, I'm sorry. See, I fucked up already. Nah, it was in the city, downtown. Downtown, this club called 205 at the time. That was the name of it. And I was there, just, random night. I forgot who was DJing. Upstairs might have been like DJ Equal, and then downstairs was like, I don't know who was downstairs. But anyway, upstairs was more like electro. At the time, that was like the electronic music called electro. That was upstairs. And then downstairs was dance hall music, like just reggae dance hall. So I would just go upstairs, downstairs, just like up, down, just like, And all these other parties I went to, I would hear, different kind of music. Roxy Cottontail was doing a lot of events around that time that I went to. But for this party specifically, I was like, had a lot of drinks, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, oh, I'm loving life. And I was upstairs, and then it was something playing, and then it was like, you know, something playing like Forward to the Floor, and then I was going downstairs and it was a dance hall song playing, and the dance hall song was kind of Forward to the Floor, but it had the dance hall elements. But for some reason at that particular point, like the songs were blending, and I was like just drunk, just like, and I was in between. I was just like in on the steps, like I was like, yo, this shit is fire. Like, and then I went home and started doing like remixes, different things like that. And I was like, yo, it'd be dope if it was a party that mixed these two elements that at that time, it was like nothing really mixing like that. And me and Jasmine had been doing a few parties. So I was just like, yo, Jasmine, I got an idea for this party, right? It's going to be electro. It's going to be dance hall, hip hop. It's going to be all the stuff that we love together that people don't play. It's always this kind of party or this. We're going to do it together. Wow. And it's going to be called Electro Pum Pum. And she was like, I love the idea, but no. So she was like, how about Electric Punani? I was like, oh. That's fine. But basically, electric was like the electronic music, the electronic aspect of it, and then Punani was just like a word that, you know, it means basically vagina in dancehall music, you know. But it's also like just the masculine, feminine, you know. Also in Hawaii, Punani's like a flower. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I.
So we just started researching a lot of just like the words that we're using as well, you know, masculine, feminine, like the connection between me and her coming together to do music. So it had a lot of layers when we did, and it was like really like people would say it and be like, ooh, like what's that? You know, so that aspect definitely worked as well.
It's like a world opener. You know?
Yeah, and then there weren't any parties like that as far as like, you know, downtown, the parties that we were doing, the events that we were doing. So we did that, and the first one we did at 205, it kind of like had a real good turnout. And then we started doing them at this club called Sway with Roxy Cottontail. That was her event was on Mondays, and that's when it like really blew up. We had like one party with like 300, 400 people outside trying to get in, and the club only holds like 200. But Sway was crazy because outside would be like a party too. You know what I'm saying? Like people just come through and just be outside or something like, yo, I'm just chilling outside. And the inside was crazy. So yeah.
But see, here's the thing. Here's the beauty about your music, or your type. It's like when you listen to your tunes, and this is something I was saying earlier on, it's this whole element of surprise where you're listening to one part of it, you're like, okay, I get it. And then something just injects in there where you're like, wait, what? Where did this come from? And then it's like, okay, let me listen more. And it just goes into like different journeys, like different chapters of a book where you're fully shocked. And I just wonder, is that why Beyonce and Jay-Z may have picked up on you? Like, what happened there in that part?
Well, I would say with B specifically, she liked how I just manipulated her voice with my remixes and stuff. Like she just liked that it sounded weird, but it sounded like on point as well. And, you know, she's definitely into like experimentation with her shit.
Well, how did that call go? Was it
the call? I mean, was it a call? Was it an email? My friend Quasi, who works with, he's a creative director that works with. He's real dope, and I've learned a lot from him. I believe he's the one who put it on to my music specifically, but it was a live performance version of a remix I did that she saw and really liked. But the project that I did was called Beyonce X, and it was a remix project. And that was basically a series of projects that I've been doing since 2006 or so. The first one was Amy Winehouse, Back to Black. I remixed that. That was like MySpace. I made like a separate MySpace just for that project.
I love Amy Winehouse.
Put it up on MySpace. It got like mad followers on MySpace and people like hitting me up, you know, wanting to download. I had to like create like that was like Z-Share. Like you had to like mega upload or something like that. Download link, people download it. I sent it to Mark Ronson. He was like, yo, this is fire. So he played it on his East Village radio station. And he started just playing my other music that I made as well. So that kind of opened it, you know, just unlocked the thing like, oh, like this is something that's unique to me that people fuck with, so let me do it again. So after that I did I did an Amy Winehouse one. I did a Raphael Sadiq one. I did a Maxwell one, and that one blew up as well. And Maxwell hit me up like, "Yo, this is fire." And Sony like bought the rights to some of the remixes, and they played it on his tour. They still play like at the end of his tours and stuff. And I still do work with him, like I'll remix stuff every now and then. But just the idea of doing something unique to me that I like, that was like, I wasn't necessarily making money off of it because it was just like remixes, this other people's music. I was just jacking it basically. But doing that, I think I did an Erykah Badu one as well. But yeah, doing that kind of built an energy around my remix projects. So when I did the Beyonce X one, the way I did that, so she released her album, the self-titled album, and I was like, this shit is fire. I hear so many elements. It's like, as I'm inspired by it, it's like my brain also, when my brain starts to go into producer mode while I'm listening, like, ooh, I would sample that. Ooh, I'm like, oh, nah, I got to do it. So it came out like on some midnight shit, came out. Then by like the end of the day or like the end of the next day, I already had the whole thing done like at one time.
That was that quick.
That quick. And then what I did, it was maybe like 6 tracks. Then what I did for her, she released a video for each song, which was like, you know, monumental at that time for an artist of her caliber to put a whole project out like that. So what I did, that was back when Instagram had like only 15-second videos you could put up. And that was like brand new, like Instagram, you could put videos. So I hit up I just hit up different creatives and directors. It was like, yo, here's a remix project, next one that I'm doing. And let's make videos for each song and just put it on Instagram, on some Instagram shit. Not even YouTube. Like, we just gonna put it on Instagram. So I had like, I believe Young Jake did one. I did like 2. I can't remember all the other ones, but what I did was, before I put the music out, I just uploaded one video on Instagram. Boom. And that shit started blowing up. Everyone was like, yo, what is this? What's going on? Da-da. Then the next hour, like, the first one was like 11 a.m. Then the next one I put out like 12. Like, boom, here's the next one. Yo, what is this? You know, and then by like, I would say by like 1 p.m., I had mad media outlets in my DMs, like, you know, Vice, Revolt, mad people like, yo, we want to release this. Like, yo, we want to put this out. So I was like, this is lit. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, yo, you want to put it out? You got to do an article. You got to mention every director that I worked with on the video shit. You got to post the videos. You got, you know, like my way type shit. It's like, yes, let's do it. You
the
know?
art of negotiation.
Yeah,
because it's coming out.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, create the creative currency. I just find the value in my creative currency, you know? So doing that, then I put out the project on SoundCloud, and it started blowing up, like mad plays. Like, it was about to hit like, you know, in the 100,000s, like then you know, 500,000 plays. Then like, whoa, and then it just started getting taken down, like ripped off, boom, boom, rip. I'm like, damn, it should get taken down, you know, because her label's taking it down, because obviously I'm some random person with all these different remixes of her shit that I'm just posting up, you know. So, but at the same time, Kwesi, who was also a supporter fan of mine, he was like, yo, gave it to her, like, yo, listen to this, you know. And then he hit me like, yo, she likes the EP. That was enough for me. I was like, oh, that's lit. Because I remember when this happened prior, you know, with Mark Ronson, Amy, with Maxwell, his company buying. So I'm like, dope. This is happening again, where the artist heard it and fucked with it. All right. But then after that, I was like, all right, let me take this further. You know, I do a lot of stuff in like the art space. So I was like, you know, and I do a lot of live remixes. I have a lot of that on my YouTube as well, making live beats and shit. So I made a live performance version of my version of Drunk in Love was called Drunk in Lust. So I did this performance piece that was like basically me performing it live on the drum machine, and then having like this shadow world behind me that was like my shadow being projected onto a wall, and then this other like intergalactic crazy world on this side that I created myself. Like, I did all the artwork for it. And I worked with Jason Banker. That was the first project we did, and I still work with him now, just on different things. He's like my go-to director of photography. But she saw that video, and was like, oh, nah, let's get him to work on like the intro to the On the Run tour. You know, like, yo, let's work on the intro. So I was like, this is dope. I'm going to go work on it. I'm going to work on it. I didn't get to meet it. It was more like, here's what we're doing. Send us some files, send us something. So they give me direction. I think like Ed Burke, who works there, he was like, yo, got on the phone with me, talked to me about, you know, the direction, everything. I'm like, cool. Send the idea, you know, the back and forth, sending files. And then that led to, all right, we need to have him do the whole tour now. Like the sound design, all that for the whole tour, you know? And then once I was in that door, it was
request. I mean, did you ever think to yourself, I'm in over my head, or this is no?
I have so many questions as we were going through this journey.
Write them down, because like I never
seriously.
tell people a lot of these stories, like the timeline. I like really going through timeline, because then you could go and fact check everything I'm saying online, you know? So I like to like give you the factual actuals, you feel me?
Well, we were talking about like, you know, behind the scenes of how long it actually takes into creating yourself, you know, and going back to when you first were mixing to then being hit up by Beyonce to that point, and even creating the videos with your visuals. How long does it take to put together, let's say, a mix for specifically an artist, as you had done for like Amy and Beyonce? The videos were separate. You managed to do that within like a day or so, or like, you know, how long did it take you?
Each project is different. So I think Amy was like the first one I did. Visionary Diary, Claude, he put me onto Amy Winehouse, her Frank album, I believe. He had like a black Escalade. He would just ride around. We was going somewhere. I was like, yo, what is that? I thought it was some old. I think he was playing. He might have been playing Back to Black, and I was like, this sounds like some old, like, oh, I want to sample this, because I was into Dilla heavy, and I was just like sampling all of my old vinyl. So when I heard that, I was like, this sounds like, you know, the stuff that I sample. And he was like, nah, this is Amy Winehouse. Like, yo, but this album is dope, but listen to Frank. And I listened to Frank, I was like, oh, Frank is lit. Like, that's fire. But I kept going back to Back is Black. So what's the question you asking me?
Like how long the process was?
Oh, so with that one, it was like, it took a while, because it was my first time doing it. So it was just like, all right, how do I do it and make it sound unique to me? And then the Raphael Sadiq one took a while, like maybe a month or two. Maxwell was like real quick as well. It probably took like 3 weeks, maybe. The Maxwell one was crazy too, because I got the album on the low shit before, like 2 weeks before it came out, and I did the whole thing already. So when his album dropped, I just dropped it like on some next day shit, like bang, my shit right there. So that caught a wave too, you know. And yeah, the Erykah Badu one that I did it and I never put it out. I was like, I don't know, I didn't put it out, and
Why?
then like, because I didn't feel like it was good, and I felt like I was maybe just like replicating what I was doing, and I wasn't pushing myself like that. But then after sitting and you know, like maybe like a year after or something, I was like, oh nah, this shit's fire. Let me upload it. So I uploaded it, and then the Beyonce one was like the quickest one I did, which was like the majority of it was done in the first day or two, and then after that it was like, cause her album came out December. I think the Beyonce self-titled came out like December 28th or something like that. And I think Blue Ivy's birthday is like January 5th. And I was like, I'm going to drop it on Blue Ivy's birthday, like happy birthday.
Oh, smart.
So it was like real quick. It was like, yeah, you know, just fucking with the internet and just, I was just like, you know,
Literally
it
within
just
a
kind of
week.
just kind of being on some like, just doing what I want. Like, yo, it would be dope to do that as an artist. Like, yo, I fuck with you. Here goes, you know? So, yeah.
I mean, that just shows as well from starting point, of course, it's going to take a little longer. And then as you do it more and more, you get to a certain speed. So when Beyonce, Jay-Z basically, or Beyonce gave you the project of like the outline of the intro for the tour, did they give you a time limit as well? Did you have a deadline in order to create something? And was there pressure? Did you feel any pressure to live up to a certain standard, or you just felt like, you know, I got this? I know myself.
That's next level stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, the thing with me is like, I'm gonna just do it how I want to do it, like, you know. But at the same time, not hard. I'm hard-headed, but I'm also receptive to like creative criticism. You know, especially with anyone who I respect or just somebody who I think is genuine, even if I don't respect it. Because to respect you, I have to know you to a certain extent. But even if I don't know you and I just like feel like it's come from a genuine place, then I'm gonna fuck with it. So with that, it was like, you know, sending music back and forth, and then it was a point where I was like, did she hear it yet? And it was like, no. I was like, all right, make her hear what I did already. And then once she heard it, it was like, all right, nah, come through and do the whole, you know, the whole tour and everything. And I was just like, you know, I'm like, I've been in my bedroom like up for 24, 48 hours working on like one snare for some shit that I create and then put on SoundCloud, and it gets like, you know, how many amount of plays. Like, to do that for an artist of her caliber and get paid to do it and get, you know, the accolades, whatever that comes with it, that was like, I was already prepared from just being in my room every day doing that, you know?
Yeah.
So it kind of is just like, for me, is like, I know that, and the thing with every artist, you know, is like, they're coming to you because you have something that they lack in their whole creative realm. So they're coming to you for that. So you have to respect your voice in that setting, you know? And the same way as I'm lacking something that she has, that I'm getting to go into her world now and work and have eyes on me and, you know, have people see like, okay, this kid makes a whole bunch of other dope shit, you know?
It's actually giving me the shivers to think about that.
So you have to have like, you just have to have respect for the artist and respect for yourself to be like, I'm not just like, if she gives me direction or something, I'm not gonna just do exact. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna put she's fucking with me because I'm me.
Right.
You know what I mean? She's fucking with me because I was doing what I was doing, how I was doing it. She specifically said she liked how I fucked with her voice. You know, so it's like, all right, I'm gonna fuck with your voice crazy right now. Like, I'm gonna do a whole bunch of other shit. You gonna fuck with, you know, some shit she fucked with, some shit she didn't. You know, and it's the collaborative, like, especially working with her whole team. You know, you got to work with the visual side because, you know, with her, it's like you create a song with her and that song is going to live through different dimensions. So as dance, in the dance realm, is going to live. People are going to create their own dances. The dancers are going to have choreography. Then the visual side, they're going to shoot certain things. They're going to work with certain creatives, certain artists, certain visual artists. So it's like, I'm going to make sure that sonically what I'm doing is A1, like 100%, you know, no complaints, like it's fire. But at the same time, it's going to be me as well, you know?
So you mentioned, you know, the accolades, the collaborations, and you mentioned getting paid for something you love doing. So for you, how do you define success for Melo?
For me, it's really being happy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what makes me happy? Am I happy right now doing this? If I'm not, then I'm not going to do it. You know, so it's like, I always wanted to make a living off of my creations, you know, not specifically music or not specifically art or not specifically creative direction. I just want to make a living off of what I create. That makes me happy. That's what I'm doing now, so I'm successful.
You
know?
really pushed for it as well, because
Yeah.
you're not just, you know, you're definitely a multi-hyphenated, not threat. I don't want to say threat because I don't want a negative connotation to it, because it's actually a beautiful thing and a powerful thing to be able to do everything, all the realms that you're in, because like you mentioned, you created the visual art as well, like with going back to the Beyonce project, and that takes a lot of time as well, and like skill. And how did you get into that realm of visual production?
I would say when I was in high school, doing the mixtapes. You know, I created all the covers for our mixtapes, and I used to sell them in high school. Like, I was on some shit in high school. Like,
You're an entrepreneur there.
Yeah, they had my mix, like they mentioned my mixtapes in the yearbook. Like they had like the yearbook, like a time capsule. Like, what would you take from this year? And it was like, yo, DJ One Way mixtapes. And that, you know, because I was the, like, DJ One Way, he was the DJ, the voice on there, and we would collaborate on the projects together. And I did like all the artwork and everything. I would print the shit out, cut, you know, every cover. I would like make shirts, you know, and that was like you would just buy like this sheet from like Rite Aid and you print on it, and then if you iron it on a shirt, it comes, out. So that was like my first time working with Photoshop and shit like that. You know what I mean? Fashion. Like, so the visual side came out of a necessity too. Like, we didn't have nobody to go to do that. So it was like, all right, I'm gonna learn how to do it. I'm gonna make the covers. Like, the first covers was corny. Like, looking at them now, I was like, this is so bad. But at that time, it was selling. Like, in school, I had teachers buying my shit. I had guards. I would do this thing where it was like, I would buy chips in bulk, like different kind of chips. I would buy Pepsis, Pepsis in bulk, because the school didn't have Pepsis. And I would do like a, like $5, like a $6 mixtape deal. You get a chip, you get Pepsi, and you get a mixtape. Instead of paying $5 in the lunchroom and only getting like one thing, I was like, yo. So I had my little location in school at lunchtime, like my little corner, like motherfuckers just come up like, yo, can I get, you know what I mean? I'm like,
Did
yeah,
you
I got
do this
I
all
got
alone?
Yeah, I mean, because, okay, he was in Wingate. Like, we lived so close to each other, but for some reason that one street was like a different zone. So a lot of my friends that I grew up with, they went to Wingate, and I went to this school called Erasmus, which is more towards Flatbush Avenue. So I met a lot of new friends there, and I was just, I was like the creative, like, music person in school, as far at that point. Like, I played in a band. I played during my graduation. Like, I got a scholarship that paid for my books in college. It was based off of me I used to do poetry too at like a lot of things in the auditorium. Like, a lot of the events they would have, I do like, like I did a poem on like Malcolm X one time, and then I did a poem on something else, and then I would play piano and play drums. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, I was like the music person.
Well, no wonder you have your own business, Creative House, Creative Extra House.
Extra Creative House.
Extra Creative House, sorry.
You can say XCH.
XCH.
Yeah, make it easy.
And so how did that come about? Because that sounds like a fruition of your journey coming into a business. And you also develop artists. You have a special artist development program. Talk a little bit about that aspect.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's like me working with different creatives and just consistently working with them and building really, like, people who I work with that I fuck with and like we have like a great connection, I just continue to work with them. So like Jason Banker is one. He's like my go-to DP. I've done maybe like 4 videos with him, and then this recent film I did called Juve Night that's opening in San Francisco at the MOAD Museum African Diaspora, I believe. He was the director of photography on that as well. So from that first project, the Beyonce project with him, it was like, this came out real dope. It resonated. Let's continue to work, And then with another group called Integrated Visions, Brian and Michelle, I work with them on a lot of my like projection mapping stuff, VR stuff. And we started working, I forgot how specifically. Oh, I think I did a performance at their loft one time.
Oh, cool.
And because I wanted to do projections. This is like 2000, like this is 2013 or 12 or something. I wanted to do projections. I didn't know who to go to. I met them. I was like, all right, let's do this party and just like experiment with projections, but invite people to come through and like see this performance. So that went dope, and I was like, all right, I'm going to just keep working with them. So once I compiled a lot of people who I was like, yo, I want to work with, further, want to do projects with, I just was like, it just made sense for me to have my own platform, because everything I wanted to do was not specifically MeLo-X. I wanted to do some stuff for other artists as well, and not have it just be MeLo-X. So I was like, all right, Extra Creative House. Like, I got a whole crib of creatives, and I just tap into whoever for each project, And then with the artist development, it's kind of the same thing. I met Ty Bass, and he put me onto him and all his friends who do music. And I was just like, yo, they the next gen, like next generation, just, but also it was just like they on some next shit. Like, yo, y'all on some next shit. Like, your music sound different. Y'all, your minds are y'all are way advanced than I was at that age, kind of thing. So Started working with them, mentoring them, you know, bringing them in the studio, different things. And now it's like continuing to work with them and getting them distribution, getting them platform, going through the whole process of being a successful artist, you know, the downfalls and the, you know, the game winners and the losing and everything, just dealing with that with them, you know. So yeah.
You kind of remind me of like will.i.am. Like you kind of tap into
Definitely
different reels.
inspiration,
Yeah,
yeah.
very inspirational. And you even have an app that you created.
Curate. Yeah. That's another project with Lou Augusta, who I work with. He's a developer. And I came to him saying, man, him I knew for a while too. We did this like video stuff, but then I was like, I need somebody who does apps. And somebody was like, yo, Lou. I'm like, oh, I know Lou. Like, I worked with him before. All right, let me hit him up. He was down to meet up with me. I'm like, yo, I want people to interact with my music. I feel like at that time, it was like, for me, I was just like, yo, everybody. I remember just having CDs and having covers and being like, wow. And then now I just felt like you have 1 million MP3s on your phone or on your device. And it's like the music, the physicality of it doesn't hold as much weight as it did before. Now it's just like a MP3 amongst a bunch of other MP3s. So I was like, I want people to interact with my shit. So I want to make an app that has this a shape, an octahedron shape, and people can move it around and alter the music, and everybody has a own listening experience. Feel me? So started working with him on that, and you know, now we're in development. We have like version 2 that came out where you can upload your own music, you can add effects, you can you know, I use it too for just like affirmations. I'll be like, you a sexy motherfucker. Put that shit on repeat. Oh, you a sexy motherfucker. You a sexy motherfucker. You know, like this shit like that. Like I do. And then also just for sound design. So if I hear something in the street that I like, I'll just record it and build my own bank of sounds that I sample from. So I sample from my own tailored sounds, you know?
So that's a good app for people to tap into.
Yeah. Curate Alpha on Apple, whatever it is.
Apple Store.
Yeah,
right?
Apple Store. There you go.
I get Siri to call me sexy little shit for affirmation.
There you
I'm
go.
Like, Siri,
you
what's
know
my
what I
name?
mean? Right. That's how it works.
So we all got our platforms
you gotta use
there.
technology for all the aspects, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, as an artist or even an entrepreneur or business person, you always have to keep evolving, right?
Mm-hmm.
You always have to change with the times and create new things and do new things. So, you know, I know there's, you know, for the artists that are out there that aren't forward thinking, ain't thinking the long game. You know, a lot of artists out there where people are trying to think of the quick ROI, right? The quick return on what they can get out. So, you know, I think that's very, very important now with the social platforms and all the different outlets. I mean, it's really a free landscape. It's a wild west. You can come up with anything your mind can be creative about and go out and do it. But it's just having the passion and the drive to stick with it.
Yeah, definitely. Time and talent and tenacity. Yeah. I forgot what teacher told me that in Institute of Audio Research, but it's like the 3 T's: time and talent. The right talent at the right time, and the tenacity to stay consistent until all of those things line up.
Yeah, so for everybody who's listening who hasn't made it yet, or got their break, don't get discouraged. Just
Don't get discouraged, yo. Just keep going. Like, figure out what's for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, also, I follow my dreams a lot. So a lot of my music early on, like, I would sleep and just have dreams about melodies and ideas and lyrics. I'd just wake up, record it. Like, I would go to sleep with the laptop with, like, my computer on. It was like a Dell computer. I used to, like, build computers. Like, oh, I'm going to have all the best RAM and everything. So I would just have it on. And then when I woke up, I'll just wake up. All right, let me play the melody I just heard. Boom. Then I make a whole song. I dedicate. I was like, it's not just an idea that just came. Like, nah, I'm about to make a whole thing around this. I'm going to make a cover. I'm going to make a whole write-up, and I'm going to send it to people and upload it on SoundCloud. Like, taking my shit serious, you know? Taking the dreams serious, like, the inspiration serious, you know? And just finding what I was passionate about and going 100% with what I'm passionate about. So
I think that's a lot of people got to do is go 100% in.
100%. Yeah.
You know, if it's a hobby to you, it's not going to work. You know, when I started my company, it was all or nothing. You know, I had no plan B. I was either going to survive and make it, or I was become homeless and figure shit out. But
yeah.
You know, there was no in between.
Yeah. My mom was scared one time. She was like after feel like after I think maybe after Lemonade came out, you know, she called me crying. I'm like, why are you crying? She's like, yo, I just remember one day, she's like, one day I asked you, like, what if music don't work for you? And I told her, like, I want to die. I was like, yo, I want to die. I don't care. I'll be homeless. I don't care. It's going to work. And she was scared because she was like, yo, she pray all the time in church. Like, I pray that somebody just hears his music, fucks with him. I pray. Like, she was praying, like, please make somebody big or somebody just fuck with his shit. Because if he don't get this, I don't know what's going to happen to him. Because I was just like, no, I was like, plan B for what? Like, plan A. If I'm working on plan B, I'm not putting 100 into plan A. Like, that was the mentality, you know? Right. At that time, not saying that that's the best mentality, but that was my specific for what I did, you know? Yeah. And that's how I felt. That's what I was passionate about. So I did that, you know, 100%. So with anybody is like, you don't have to specifically do that, but if you have a game plan, you have something that you feel like, nah, this is going to work, and you have the visions, you get the inspiration, you see in it, 100% do it, you know?
And for me, I would say cut your safety net. You don't have a safety net because it's going to force you to fall back on something. So it's if you got nothing to fall back on, you have nothing to do but climb and go up.
Yeah.
So, you know,
and part of that climbing up is falling down too. It's like,
absolutely,
you know, it's really no losses. It's only lessons.
Right.
You know, it's winning and lessons. You win, and then you learn how not to lose.
Yeah.
You learn how, okay, next time I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this and win. So it's just like always just see the winning aspect. You know, sometimes I would put shit up, it would get like 10 plays, 100 plays, and then I put something else up, it got like 1,000 plays. You know, I didn't keep recreating that. I was like, all right, what was the energy I put into that made that, okay, this is what I did. I had all these different things lined up. All right, let me do that again with this. Oh, I see it's resonating again. Okay, let me do it another way. Let me expound on that idea, you know, so.
If you don't mind kind of touching on it, what was your biggest fall and how did you climb your way back up?
I think as far as like, I think just the constant like independent artist type mind frame of like people not fucking with you the way you want them to. People not being as receptive to the music the way you want, you know. Not being able to pay a bill or something when, you know, you're putting music out for sale and nobody's really buying it, or there's a bunch of people buying it, but it's not enough. You know, sometimes your plays have to be over a certain amount before they deposit the money type shit. You know, it's different things. So I think the downfall was just the fear of that. The fear of being, you know, fearful of that. Just being like, damn, like, if this doesn't happen, like, you know, I might just have to go get a job now. Like, I'm gonna just, you know, having those ideas. And then for me specifically, is like having my sister around, having my best friends around, you know, having my girl around who's like, nah, keep going. Like, nah, do it like this. All right, so switch it up, do that. Like, nah, what are you talking? Like, my sister be like, oh, what are you talking? You sound crazy. Like, trying to quit. Like, what? Yeah. She like damn near beat me up. Like, what are you talking about? You know, so. I think that was probably like the main thing, just like self-doubt and like going into that cocoon of self-doubt and just like, all right, I'm not going to do anything because nobody's fucking with it. I don't care.
But on the flip side, do you have any friends growing up who said, oh, Mel, you're not going to make it? Or why are you doing that? Why are you chasing that? You really don't fuck with that.
I think it was more so, yo, you got to do one thing. You can't do everything. That was the thing. Like, you can't do everything, bro. You got to focus. So I was like, but I'm focused on doing everything. I'm like, and not just doing everything. It's just like, I love all the aspects. Like, I'm looking at the album covers. I'm looking at who does the album cover. I keep seeing Jonathan Mannion's name for photography. So I'm like, okay, he's doing a lot of these covers that are iconic. That's dope. Let me study some of his stuff. All right, who's doing the production? Oh, these producers. Let me study that. Okay. When I go to get music, like when there was like a Tower Records or whatever, you you see the album cover. Like, I'll go for one thing and I'll see a cover like, ooh, what's that? So I'm not hearing the music yet, but I'm looking at the artwork. So I'm like, oh, that's an aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then, oh, I like that. Then I see the music video. Damn, I keep watching this music video over and over. Why am I watching it over and over? Oh, because there's a director involved. There's there's choreography involved, you know, there's cinematography, there's, you know, color correction involved, there's all these things. I'm like, oh, okay, that's why I like this. So just for me, I was like, all right, I'm going to learn. I would never try to be like, not that I'm not trying to be the best, but it's more so learning enough to execute what I want to execute for me, And doing that was just like, I just loved creating. Like, whatever it is, I just like create. Like, I like cooking. I solve Rubik's Cubes, and then, like, I'll solve them, and then I'll just create different patterns. Like, ooh, boo, I'll show my girl, look at this pattern I just made. It's just crazy, right? Like, I just like creating. So it's just like, I never wanted to box myself in as just a this or just a that. It's like, I just, want to create whatever,
I hear that.
So if you could collaborate with someone that you haven't collaborated with, who would it be?
I don't know.
They could be dead. Dead or alive. Okay, I'll let you sit on that then.
Let me sit, because it's like, not that I've worked with everybody I want to, but it's like, I really feel blessed when, I get those opportunities. But for the most part, I'm always just like focused on like what I have going on right now. Like right now I'm in like daddy mode. So I'm just like, me and my girl, like we've been having dreams like crazy. Like we have, like the other night, I swear our son was talking to us because we both had that exact same dream, and he was in it. I'm like, the exact same dream, the exact same setting, same people in the dream. I'm like, yo, that happened to you too? Yeah, that happened to me. Da-da. I'm like, wow, I want to tap into this baby telekinesis. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, that's the new wave. You know what I mean? So whatever I'm into is like, I kind of go 100%, and I dive into like all the different aspects of how it works, of, what makes it stay in motion, creatively or in life or spiritually or,
Yeah.
So you really don't force anything. It kind of just comes to you.
Nah,
Just let it come,
yeah.
yeah.
And then some things I do, I'm like, like with the film Juve Night, it's coming out next month. I was like, I could get somebody to do the color correction, but I want to learn color correction, So on my YouTubes, boom, talking to the director of photography, like, oh, so how you do this? How you do that? All right, boom, boom, boom. Studying like Belly. Like the movie Belly, like when they went to Jamaica, and the first time they went to Jamaica, and I'm just like, oh, Hype Williams, like who did his, who's the director of photography for his shit, like, just studying that scene over, or I would watch that scene, like I would have a day just dedicated to watching that scene over and over and over, and then I go to my film, turn like one like shadow like down -3, okay, now watch the film, look at my film, like, okay, color red up 2%. Okay, boy. Until I was like, oh, all right, now I kind of see why this worked. I see how he captured black skin in the dark setting. So I'm like, all right, lit. Now I know how to like fully go in on my film. So I didn't have to just, same idea of like sample. I didn't have to go and just copy that. Now I could create my own way of how it looks for my film, So I don't know if that answered what you said. But.
I mean, I feel like that's telling a lot of like, as a creator, you're not just creating, you're really learning a lot. You're really
it's
researching.
more so learning than,
Yeah.
that's the process of creating too, is like learning, being the student, you know what I'm saying? Being the student at all times, like, especially in certain rooms with certain artists, I just be soaking up mad shit. They probably don't even know they teaching. I'm just like, oh, I see that, like, seeing like J and B, like how they work together, how he was, every meeting we had, he was there, you know what I'm saying, supporting, you know what I mean, like, she'd be talking, everybody talk, all right, so what you think? And he'll be like, oh, I think this, da-da-da. All right, cool. Next person, what do you think about that? What do you think about that? What do you think? Like, collaborative effort, and then, taking in information, not being like, not being so on a pedestal or
like
on the
a dictator
thing.
almost,
Yeah,
saying,
where
this
it's
is the way
like,
it's gotta be, this is
right,
it,
But
yeah.
that's the thing. If it is something that you're passionate about, that you has to be like that because maybe culturally it means something, or conceptually it means something, then yeah. But if it's something that is like, it's just an idea that's dope, and somebody has a better one, all right, let's go with the better one. Not, nah, we gotta go with my idea because it's mine. It's more like, what's gonna make the execution of this be 100% top level. And for me, the reason why I do a lot of the stuff that I do, because I've seen with my work specifically, when I do a lot of, when I'm kind of like the creative director in the sense of my shit, it resonates with people a lot, with my audience. So I just continue to do that. Here's a film that I did the sound design, I did the, I edited, I did the color correction, I did this. It's conceptually about this. Like, there's a body of work that's, about something specific, and it's from me and it's authentic to what I do. Here you go. That's what has worked for me, from day one. So
I know you're in daddy mode right now, but I'm curious, like, what project you would like to work on next? Like, whether it's more music or visual or or if you're gonna set up a stage for your baby. Let's just say that.
My God, my baby about to have a lit setup,
Like, I'm curious to know what the baby's room's gonna look like. I feel like that's gonna be amazing. Like,
but you know what?
Rainforest effects.
It might be real corny, yo. Like I said, I'm about to be like the dad mode, like, so it might just be real regular. You never know. Sometimes simplicity is key.
Right.
Sometimes simplicity. In a world with so much, like, all over the place, simplicity could, like, stick out, It's like when Lady Gaga was wearing mad wild shit, and then she just wore, like, a suit. It was like, oh, my God, she has on a suit. Because they used to seeing her with, like, fucking meat
all over her.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's really, like, finding the balance in that. So, yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming out, down to Virginia Beach,
Word.
for the event, for the Hollywood Chills.
Hell yeah, thanks for having me, yo.
Yeah, no, it means a lot, and I really appreciate you always wanting to give back.
Yeah,
to the
giving
people,
back
too.
with information. Information is key.
Yeah, it's all about
Yeah,
helping,
inspiration.
extending a hand and helping the next person up, and
And inspiring those who inspire me.
Absolutely, man. So, I appreciate you coming out, Erman, as always.
Word.
Of course.
Yeah.
Love being back home.
Thanks for helping get this set up, and Miss Yasmine, thank you for everything too as well.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm looking forward to the event tomorrow, and
yeah, man.
yeah. So that's it. Thanks for having you.
Word.
Right,
I
bro.
hope I ain't talk too much. I like talking more than less though, because I don't really be giving mad gems out, and I feel like I have a lot of gems to give out. So it's like time to just give it out more and more. There's a information currency as well as creative currency.
So for everybody listening, where should they follow you at if they're not following you?
Yo, MeLo-Extra everywhere. Instagram, MeLo-Extra, Facebook, Twitter, everything. MELOXTRA. That's on social media. Or you can just Google Melo-X. Get your Googles up, feel me? See, I always got some shit on Google. You ain't gonna go wrong doing a Google search. So
There you go. And Miss Yasmine, everyone wants to follow you who's not following you just yet.
If you want to. My name is @Yasmine Tanres. You can Google that as well, but you can also Google Yasmine Tamwijaya Pajaris if you can remember that.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Don't worry about it.
And Erman.
You can find me at Erman_LA, ERMAN_LA, or Ermantourage, ERMANTOURAGE.
Ermantourage is fire.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
And of course, me, you can follow me at Romeo Spino, and that's pretty simple.
Word.
That's it.
Thank you.
All right, peace. Thanks, Mello.
Thank you.